as we talk through. Hey guys, Michael Ray Newman here. Welcome to the Inside Edge. I got Edwin Britt all the way from North Carolina. What's up, brother?
Hey, buddy. Good to be in Texas.
Good to be in Texas. I got Kevin E., the Monster Millennial, always riding shotgun with us.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, what's up? And we have the special guest of the week.
Yes, we do.
Is that what we call it? Chrissy Morales, thank you for joining us on the Inside Edge.
So much. What an honor and a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
It's been a minute coming because you've had your own podcast for a while. We kind of reached out and flirted about coming on your podcast and I wanted you on ours. So we've been kind of missing you or missing each other. So I'm really grateful that we're able to get you in the studio today.
Awesome. Very happy to be here. Let's do this.
And Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
And we got Dillo in the corner over. I don't have a camera on him. Come here, Dillo. Pop your head in there. I'm going to have you, Dillo, right there.
Check 1, 2.
Check 1, 2. All right. I got you there.
Dylan.
So, Dylan Newman. Oh, Dillo. He's doing our social media, doing a lot of stuff for some of our customers as well. He'll be taking some things. And so some of the pop-up podcasts and things you see here from Dylan. Kevin E., the Monster Millennial, does a lot of our polished stuff. But welcome today, Chrissy. I want to talk a little bit about you. There's just a lot of cool stuff. I mean, like I said, there's very few people that we've had on the podcast.
It's pretty limited, yeah.
Yeah, but I've really...
I feel special.
Yeah, all the way back from the B&I days where I met Chrissy.
Oh, yeah, B&I.
Yeah, she goes, oh, yeah, thank you. You said I can talk about anything.
Yeah, you can talk about anything. Let's do this. Yeah, absolutely.
So I met her at B&I, at a B&I deal. I had my little dry cleaners, and I went up there for it. And then I made Ashley, that worked for us, made her start going. She hated it, doing the commercials. Of course, I didn't mind it. But it was awesome to see Chrissy and what I've seen you do from afar, because we really didn't know each other, and we're just getting to know each other. But I really admired you and what you accomplished in the real estate industry, but plus some of the things that you've overcome and the person that you are. So I appreciate you being the authentic self that you are. And with that being said, tell me a little bit about you, where you're from, and all that kind of cool stuff. I was like, before this thing started, she goes, why don't you just roll the camera, because I have to say this twice.
Yes.
So you're originally from, I thought Austin, but you're originally from.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I am born and raised in San Antonio. Moved up to Austin after my parents divorced, but I call Austin my home because that's where I started my real estate career. Sold real estate there for 18 years, met a man. And that's why I moseyed on up to Waxahachie, Texas.
Waxahachie.
Did you hear how she said that, Edwin?
Now I know how to say it.
Edwin's been saying it for years. We're going to Waxahachie? Bro, you got to say it right. It's Waxahachie. Yep. So there you go.
If you can't do that, just call it Hatchie.
Yeah, we do mid-low and Hatchie. That's what we call it. Drive some of the guys crazy. So that's cool. So you came, and you also, when you came to Midlothian, you transitioned. Obviously, what year did you come to Waxahachie?
Darn, I think I moved there around 2010, 2011.
And you were already successful in Austin, and
yes.
You came and picked it up and put it down there, and everybody knows you in that circle in the industry because of the work you put in, the team that you built. Talk a little bit about how you did that, the team you did, and what your philosophy is.
You know, what's interesting is you say B&I. Really, I formed that Midlothian chapter, and I knew, like, when I walked into Waxahachie, I knew nobody at all. And so I was like, okay, how am I going to meet people quickly? What do I need to do to ingrain myself into the community? I started hitting the pavement, hitting businesses. And, what was interesting is I had nobody to contact for business. So I started asking inside the industry, which I'd never done before in Austin. And what I mean by that is like asking title reps and mortgage lenders, stuff like that. Like, who do y'all know that I could help? And I'd never done that before. And I thought, I know probably everybody has asked you this before. And what was surprising is that all of them were like, nobody's asked us.
Wow.
And I thought, very interesting. But, my first transaction was actually from a title rep in that neck of the woods. And I went and stole some business too. So, but everyone's like, you're still in business. I'm like, I got to steal business. I don't know any of y'all, so it's going to be all that.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's it prompted me to go create that B&I because I thought, how are we going to connect people very quickly? And not only that, start sending referrals, but being of value in that group. And, we sent a lot of referrals in that group. You might have bailed out pretty early and Ashley took over, but, we learned to send referrals, and that was one tidbit how I built my business very quickly.
Yeah. And we've actually, Edwin, spent some time in other B&Is in around the country, because when we travel, we look for places to plug into, because we go into a private event, or we're coaching a corporate, we'll plug into a B&I group and speak. We'll just offer to speak for free, and we'll do it. And we've seen some dollars generated, bro.
Well, I'll tell you what I heard there is it really reminded me of what Mr. Ziglar's most famous saying, Zig Ziglar. You can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want.
Right.
I had a question for Chrissy. I'm sure we'll go deeper there, but for our audience, and there's so many people who get into real estate and they think, boy, I'm going to become a gazillionaire in real estate. I'm going to make more money than I've ever made. But yet, as you know, so many people go in and never really even get their first sale, or they sit dormant or whatever. What advice would you have for a young, up-and-coming person who wants to really make this a career? Because you've done that.
Right. Right. And it really started from the ground up when I moved to Waxahachie. I really, probably your mindset is the most important. You're in it to win it. And, I think you do have to have ambition, and not a quitter. This is just who I am. I'm only going to tell my story, my experience. But it really is. Look, you got to ask questions. Most people don't want to get themselves uncomfortable. But me coming to a community that I didn't know anybody at all, I had to get extremely uncomfortable and go and meet people and ask people for business. So it's really, mindset. And, a lot of people are like, do I need to spend a lot of money? I don't think you necessarily need to do that up front. It's start connecting and talking to everybody you bump into, everybody that you know.
And ask for a lead.
Yeah.
So she did.
You're asking for business.
She went and asked for business. You don't ask for it, you're never going to get it, right?
It's so interesting that you led with that, Chrissy, because in our coaching platform, which we're honored to have you, we'll get to that on our new coaching platform. But one of the fundamental things that we have to teach people, and you obviously do it well and have taught others, is the power of the ask.
Yes.
We go and do all these things and we don't ask. And why do we not ask? Most of the time is we don't want to come across as intrusive. We don't want to be that type salesperson or whatever. Right. But you and I think probably would agree that selling is something to do with and for someone, not to someone. So therefore we have to ask.
Right. It's a discovery process. You have to find out what are they looking for, what are they trying to accomplish, and you have to do that by asking questions to be able to give them what they want.
Yeah. What you guys are going to discover here with talking to Chrissy, I mean, she has a servant mentality, and she's in alignment with a lot of things she teaches. One of our 10 commandments, top things that he said, you got to get uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's what you just kind of said that in so many words. You also talked about the server, you talked about the ask, and you talked about being uncomfortable asking for it.
And I think disappointment, right? We all have disappointment and things that sets us back, and often what do you do with that disappointment? Chrissy, I'm sure you've had some disappointment along the way.
Absolutely.
What advice would you have there? Yeah.
Every moment is a learning. So when you have disappointment, it's really reflecting and going, okay, what do I need to take away from this, the good, the bad, and then what do I need to tweak to have a different outcome? And like a perfect example I can give you for this is when I walked into town and I thought, oh my God, so my business was by referral only in Austin, Texas, okay? And so I walk into town, don't know anybody. I'm like, how do I generate people quickly, form organizations, ingrain myself into meeting the community, not only realtors, but business owners, and, talking to people at Walmart and restaurants, whatever that may be. I lost my train of thought.
Overcoming disappointment.
Okay, so overcoming disappointment is,
tough.
Well, it is tough. I was going somewhere with this, but I just literally lost my train of thought on exactly what I wanted to say. So, We're going to have to come back to that.
No problem.
Let me think about this for a second. But
When,
ask me something else, and I'm sure I'll go like, oh, wait a minute.
Well, it's really cool. Like I said, I didn't know you personally, but I watched you from afar, and I watched what people said about you. And the fact that we talk a little bit about this, Ed, when we have a coaching program, and we've never really brought on other coaches, and we have a process that we use. And Edwin has been great at teaching that. And at one point last year, we had over 100 people being coached, and Edwin doing most of that heavy lifting. Well, we were able to, and I was like, how do you make it sticky? How can you measure, monitor, and track and hold these people accountable on our coaching? And I could coach you up and tell you how to get better, but am I really doing that? And what are they going to come back and show me what they've done and validate things that we've taught them? Well, now that we have the Edge Connect system, we have a back office thing that we've been able to put together. But and I want you to talk a little bit, Edwin, to Chrissy, and now we were looking for people that we were in alignment with.
Yeah.
I mean, you were on the short list, and when we met you, it wasn't like it wouldn't have been you would not have been a good fit a few years ago. Timing is everything, and there's my plan, and then there's the plan, right?
That's right.
So when we've had that, and then when you talk to what we feel good about the coaching, and we brought you on, so you're going to be help coaching some of our real estate people, and I feel like that you can also coach some of our small business owners because of the experience you've had, and on top of that, you have a special purpose. I want everyone to talk to the coaching, but then I want to let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think she said it earlier, I think, is being her authentic self. I think what Michael and I wanted to identify is individuals who had overcome a lot of adversity. He and I both have done that. Achieved a certain level of success. We've done that. Certainly you've done that. And what we started seeing is with our coaching staff, which is really one hand at this point, everybody has that in their own self. They're their own authentic self. They've overcome adversity. They've achieved a high level of success, and they have the passion for giving back to others and helping others because you want to keep being challenged, right?
Right.
And so talk a little bit about just what you're excited about in coaching, why you feel like coaching and being a mentor to someone is important, Chrissy.
You know, I'm on this journey right now where it's all about empowering people. To take massive action in their lives and to go do what you're supposed to do. You guys know I'm a faithful girl, so I've had this spiritual awakening on top of this. And I really feel like this is God telling me, you're to be used, girl, and this is how I'm going to use you.
Yeah, Chrissy's calling me. I don't know why I'm calling you. I'm just supposed to be. I told her, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I'm calling you.
I mean, there's times where, I've just heard call Michael. It's not me, and I know it's not me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to call him. Why do I have to call him? Why? And then this awkward call. So being uncomfortable, taking action, being an obedient child, taking action, and calling him and going, all right, Michael, the Lord told me to call you. You may think I'm a freak or not, but I don't really care.
Right.
So, I felt so drawn to you guys, especially when we would get into, not only when I would see you in action, but when we get into a personal setting. And I'm like, okay, we are so much in alignment, the way we talk, think, and whatnot. I thought, all right, I'm not sure what's going on here, but we need to do something together. And that's really, how I feel about all of this.
And we might be a platform or a stepping stone for you to be able to get your message out too. And you have a passion, we talked a little bit about, working with women and things that you've been called and kind of pulled towards. Talk a little bit about that and some of the things that you want to do with that.
Well,
What was it called? Hold on. You said it's something you were journaling, that passion or the.
So I've kind of changed it. We're going to create a program, and I'm working with the Heights right now to create this program. It's going to be called Love Yourself, A Pathway to Peace.
Oh, love that. And
really what I find, though, is throughout my own personal journey, I've learned that, really in order to give, like we all have to, I come from servant's heart.
Yeah.
And, we all have to love ourselves so that we have to love ourselves unconditionally so that we can give out unconditional love.
That's the tough part.
And throughout my journey, I've learned that, I love myself conditionally, and I give out conditioned love. And, to really get authentic with your own self and go, okay, that's not how I want to walk, through the remainder of my life. Like, this is all about giving, true agape love to people and pouring on them, because that's what God does for us. So anyways, this is my journey. So I feel like, I gave a speech over at the Heights.
Yes.
And the counselor happened to be in the audience. And I didn't expect this, but she came to me afterwards and was like, I need your help. And I'm like, wait, I'm not a counselor. I'm not this. She goes, look, God definitely gave you the words. You moved the room. There were so many women coming up to me afterwards saying, like, I want to be in connection with you. You were speaking directly to me. Like, this wasn't for the other woman. This was for me. And so she said, would you help me? And I said, you know what? I'll help you. And so that's how this got formulated. And now I'm putting content together to put together for this program to help these women that have been abused and in situations like that. And I look at my own life, and some things in my own life that I'm like, okay, look, I haven't been in the best situations, relationships, whatever that may be. And, it's time for me to definitely give back, tell my story. A lot of people don't want to tell their stories. This is getting completely vulnerable, humble, vulnerable, and like, this is where I've been. But it's time to tell my story so that I can help people to grow and be the best version of themselves that they can be. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, you really touched me there, and I hope our audience heard what she said, because she talked about, we all think about in terms of loving unconditionally, but that was powerful what you said. I felt it across the room. You said, I love myself conditionally, and thus for I love unconditionally or conditionally.
Right.
Yeah, that is so powerful, man. That was big there.
Yeah, you can see it, that she's got a true passion in what she's done. You have moved through your life, and I know a little bit, and I know of your personal story, but you've moved through survival,
right,
to stability, personally and professionally. And then you've had a lot of success professionally, and I'm sure you've had some success personally. But you're on a mission now to be significant, because when you are in survival mode, or you're stable, or you're trying to be successful, you're trying to be successful for yourself, your family, and you're trying to get yourself in a certain position. There's a point in your life to move forward and take the next step, and I really feel like that you're right there in the middle of that bridge of being significant, and just telling those women that kind of story. That's not your only audience, though. Remember that. And being significant is when you help other people do and have more. And what you're doing, you're moving into significance now.
Thank you, because I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it. I really, really do. But it's not me. I give him all the praise and the credit. Absolutely.
And you're always on point with that.
Yeah.
And you're authentic yourself, and you meet people where they are. That's stuff that we've already, it's just a natural fit.
This journey that you're on, Chrissy, I've been on it for a little while, and Michael as well. And it is, I look back and the joy that has come from that. And it's a different kind of joy.
Absolutely.
It's everybody needs to be filled with a little bit more of that joy. And then from that are the people you meet. Now, some people you meet for a season, some people you meet for a moment, and some people you meet that are part of your life for the rest of your life, right? And boy, I sure hope you're the latter part for us, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, see, I try to be brutally honest. I told her, I was like, listen, I might be just a stepping stone. Edwin and I may be a stepping stone for you, but we're willing to come in to see where we need to go with this, because I kind of feel the same way. So, I mean, you're really sincerely grateful for you stopping in and hanging out with us today. It was a lot of fun, and we're going to do more podcasts. I'll come on yours. You'll come back with us. Edwin, we're going to do a lot of cool stuff together, I think.
Yeah, and one more quick note before we wrap, Michael, is she said something that about being humble and vulnerable and all of that, Chrissy, and I think so oftentimes people compartmentalize that, and they think that is a weakness, to be vulnerable, to be humble, to be transparent. And I believe it to be. And so therefore they put up walls, and they're defensive, and they're defiant, and they argue, and they debate, and they whatever, right?
Right.
But the reality is humility and transparency and vulnerability are the signs of strength, but it's a different kind of strength, right?
Yeah. That's absolutely correct. And if I segue that into my business, I think the reason that I have become successful in business is because it is raw and real. Like of course, it's discovery, asking questions, how do I solve their problems? But not only that, it's being, just hear the options. You make the right decisions for your family, go from there. But I don't sugarcoat anything. I just tell it like it is. And when I'm in my appointments and whatnot, people definitely, or I take calls on the phone and I'm talking to people, they're like, man, you're a different agent. Like, we don't hear people talk like you. You know what? I'm going to go back and segue back to the disappointment, remember?
Yeah.
Because I remember what it was now. So, I told you, it'll come back to me. It'll come back to me, squirrel.
I'm glad it was not at 2 o'clock in the morning. She'd have said, hey, I got it. Call me up, Michael. I got it. I figured it out.
But it was actually stepping into Waxahachie, not knowing anybody, and going like, whoa, wait a minute. I started doing some internet leads, and I started buying some Zillow leads.
And when was that? What year?
This is probably 2000. I'm going to give it 2012, 2011,
that's
2012.
Right. When all that was kind of new, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'd never bought internet leads, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, could have been. But here's what I noticed. I would talk to these people on these lines, and for 30 days, I'm like, man, I can't convert anybody. What's happening here? Like, I'm not getting anybody to say, like, I want to be your agent, whatnot. So I remember testing and going, okay, we're going to say different things. So I think at that point I was a little timid. going, because look, what I've learned over time and again is that pretty much I don't ask for permission. I do. And I'm like, here's what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. Somebody has to tell me, lady, we're not doing that.
Tappy, yeah.
And I'll go, okay. But I would test these lines. And I remember being on my speakerphone and talking to these folks, and I would just ask questions, and I would cringe because this was being bold and brazen. I thought, what the hell? What do I have to lose? And I would ask the question and literally
cringe.
Like, what are they going to say? Are they going to hang up?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? But that's how I learned to actually create our Zillow scripts and whatnot, is just by trial and error and pushing, not necessarily, well, yeah, I guess maybe pushing the envelope a little bit, but this is how I created my style for that marketplace because it was different in Austin. Yeah. So, but yeah, so disappointment. So disappointing that I'm not getting the business, to what do I need to do? What do I need to tweak? What do I need to say? What do I need to do in order to improve and be able to get people to trust and like me very quickly and go, yeah, we want you to be our realtor.
That's so cool. Hold on a second. She got something.
Okay.
I got something. She got some good stuff. Yep. What I've heard, what I heard you say is, and it's really cool that true leaders and true difference makers are problem solvers by nature. Whether you were uncomfortable doing it, but you were willing to take the shot. One day, my son gave me this wisdom, he's what he said. There's this really smart dude that was putting together this project and it was, we had to work with our hands and put something together, and it was and this dude that was putting it together, he lost a bolt, and it wasn't working because of that. There was a rattle and it wasn't working, so I was digging around, found it, put it together. I was like, man, that dude's way smarter than us. Why the heck didn't he figure this out? He goes, because you're a problem solver by nature, Dad. That's just what you do. And if there's an issue for a lot of people, it's uncomfortable. A lot of people said, I'm not a realtor anymore in that community. But you said, I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to get comfortable being uncomfortable,
right,
and I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to test the scripts. And I know I've done the same thing. Those go, oh, here it comes.
Yes.
That cringeworthy thing. So what you said a lot there, but what I really saw, you're a problem solver by nature, and you're willing to do it poorly before you figure out how to do it right.
Right.
That's really good, and hopefully our audience, you see the value of where you'd have an opportunity to coach and be mentored by Chrissy and one of the members of our team. The other thing I heard is getting closer to the line of crossing the line. So many people let fear, false evidence appearing real,
right,
but they won't ask that extra question, or they won't create a pivot, or they're too timid, they stop too quickly because they think they're going to cross the line. I always tell people, there's a big gap between where you are and the actual line. Get closer to the line, right?
Right.
Be willing to get closer to the line, and you'll convert more people. And guess what? Your conversions went up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and people started trusting you.
Yes. And people think, I think the mentality is, well, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to bother them. But really, I don't think of it as bothering them. It's helping them. You're coming from a place of how can I help you? How can I bring value to you? So remember, it's always about living the best version of you. So I'm always bringing that.
And I can't be Chrissy. I can't be Edwin. No, you can't be, and don't try to be, right? And here's the secret sauce to what we teach. The process. We teach a process, and we teach procedure and systems, but we have a process. And if you'll take that process and put your personality with it.
Right.
I had a lady before that was telling me this. We were coaching. She goes, I don't want to upset them. I can't get comfortable. I said, but these people are not around you anymore because you didn't ask that question. And you saw someone else did, and they have the business now. And do this. And I had her lead with this. And I said, this might be over the line, but can I ask you this? Go ahead and tell them. Be transparent and start saying, this might be over the line, but boom. And sometimes you're going to hear, oh, it's not over the line at all. As a matter of fact, I was wondering if you're going to ask me that because I didn't know if it was the right thing to do. So just be willing to get uncomfortable. I love this, Kevin. The name of this podcast is what? Get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? That's what we're going to be doing. Be your authentic self. Put yourself out there. Guys, I just want to thank you, Chrissy, for stopping in today.
Welcome.
We sincerely appreciate it. Look forward to seeing what the journey is. And here's what I've discovered over the years. And every single thing I've done, when I've accomplishment, we get to the end of the day, whether we win or we lose or win or we learn, is I'm going to tell you something right now. The best thing I've ever done, and understand that the journey's been way more fulfilling than the end.
Absolutely.
So right now, wherever you are out there, guys, as we get off this podcast, look where you are and appreciate it. Enjoy it. If part of your spiritually, mentally, physically, personally, professionally, in your career, with your family, if some of those areas are struggling, find a place that's not and appreciate it. Look at where you are and be a problem solver. Be a good finder. That's what real business people do. That's what parents do for their children, to not just make them good kids, but make them be good adults and thriving adults, guys. So whatever you do, if you can't remember any of that, rewind and let's do it again. And if you can't remember that, do what my granny always told me. Be nice. Because people don't always remember exactly what you say, Dylan, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Yes,
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes, Appreciate
Appreciate you here on the Inside Edge. Thanks, Stephanie.
Get in.
Thank you, Chrissy. I
so
appreciate
much,
you.
and I'm so excited to see what the future holds.
It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah.